Thank you. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear friends. I am delighted with the opportunity in accordance with established tradition. Meet the participants of the conference. The Union of Russian Industrialists and Entrepreneurs unites the country's largest leading companies and enterprises and has been a reliable partner of the country in strengthening the economy and finance for many years, expanding freedom of entrepreneurship. The key is that the Federation of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs always has its own clear and balanced position and specific suggestions, how to make the development of the country more sustainable and dynamic, and how to make this process more sustainable and dynamic, so that this development can not only lead to the improvement of our country's economic competitiveness, but also to improve the quality of life of citizens by increasing the income of Russian families. I hope today is the course of the planned discussion. We will definitely discuss tasks that require the joint efforts of the state, society and enterprises, and I would like to say that before our conversation, it can be said that despite the unprecedented challenges we have faced in recent years, the positive trend of the domestic economy is strengthening. As you know, at the end of last year, Russia's B increased by 3% and 6/10%, and the statistics for the first few months of this year show that it continues to show a good momentum. C. January 4 of this year, 6%, 6%, 10% year-on-year. February, 7%, 7%, 7%, 10% year-on-year. Well, in the first 2 months, the average growth rate was 6%. Industrial production rose 6% and 6 to 10% from January to February. It is supported by strong domestic demand, which is based on the growth of real wages and citizens' income, according to the assessment for the first 2 months of this year. Retail turnover increased by 10% and 7/10% year-on-year. Well, average monthly salary, you're really an expression. In January this year, it increased by 8.5%. Citizens' real disposable income. In 2023, they will increase by 5% and 4.10%. As you know, I will not elaborate on the indicators of economic development now, but I will emphasize again that overall, there is a good and strong momentum, which is also evident in the state of the labor market. Today, Russia's unemployment rate is below 3%, a record low. Most importantly, we have reduced its so-called structural component, that is, youth unemployment and unemployment in historically high areas and settlements have fallen significantly. It is still higher than the national average in these regions, but in the North Caucasus, for example, it is higher. How many of us are there? 10 is my youth, 10 and 7, now 66 and 7. But in the North Caucasus, there are 13 ideas, 9A, down to 9 and 70, you are almost 4 percentage points, but a decent increase. Although the average is certainly higher than the national average, I will emphasize that there is a decline. The increase in employment, the momentum of our economy, and the company's business efforts are the result of the entire business community. This is the result of your efforts, dear colleagues, not only for your own profit, but also for the country to achieve the country's development goals. This constructive partnership is our experience of working together in difficult extras. In recent years, these conditions have enabled us to successfully deal with external difficulties. It lays a solid foundation for the implementation of the strategic plan mentioned in a recent message to the Federal Parliament. Understandably, we see all the difficulties that economies as a whole have and you all have to face. Ratio. Of course, we'll talk about it again, but in general, the result is that they are here. Now they say you don't know there are results, no matter how difficult it is. We also see threats. We're fine. We understand and realize this. Where they appear nowhere. The biggest difficulty is today, we will work with you, and I believe we have overcome it all. I repeat, we are talking about the broad positive development of the economic and social fields, the creation of new industries and directions in Russia, the service industry, etc. Large-scale infrastructure projects will also be implemented, including the construction of roads and railways, bridges and tunnels, the expansion of seaports and renewal of airport network housing public services. We also have a broad environmental agenda in which business plays an important, in many ways decisive role. Of course, these are not all of our plans. The main thing is that there are all opportunities to implement the above and other measures and to develop a new model of economic growth, including solid state resources and the potential of domestic enterprises, which are actively demonstrating themselves. Manufacturing in the consumer market, IT, tourism, and other sectors. Both in the domestic market and in relation to relations with foreign partners. The state will continue to support enterprises to launch promising projects, increase capital investment, create new employment opportunities, put commercial interests into action, and strive to improve the well-being of citizens and improve the well-being of Russian families. I know some in this room think that's not enough, but we'll see how the situation develops. This resource will be used to support high-tech projects. And of course, as they say, it's necessary to go online, monitor the effectiveness of these and other tools to customize them to make them more flexible and convenient based on feedback from business and regional leaders. Dear colleagues, Russia's strategic task is to increase the production of goods and services, mainly on its own technological basis. I've said it many times and I want to repeat it now. We won't. Absolutely everyone here is a Russian manufacturer. Well, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to. We're not going to do that. But we need to create our own original solutions, services, software, and apply them in practice, especially in key technologies and areas. This is the requirement of the times. In order to meet this requirement, it is necessary to ensure that qualified personnel who are ready to master new production and management technologies flow into our economy. Unleash this great potential of Russia and give our talented scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, and workers the opportunity to fully prove themselves. In this regard, 4. In order to improve the effectiveness of training and the participation of young people and qualified professionals, we will strengthen all levels of education, from schools to universities, and, of course, in conjunction with business, as has been done within the framework of the career guidance system. Federal Program Professionalism, FET Program Priority 2030. They will all be further developed. I want to thank you because you are very active in this. Of course, this is the common interest of the state and enterprises. I know there is a shortage of personnel, and of course, we must work together in this direction. I repeat, the task of the vocational education system is to train modern experts in demand and to provide them with the skills and qualifications they need. Guaranteed an interesting, reliable, well-paid job. Of course, the common interests of the state and the business community are expected here. At the same time, I would like to emphasize again that, according to experts, there will be an objective shortage of personnel and skills in Russia in the next few years, which certainly cannot be made up mechanically by importing low-skilled labor. За счет трудовой миграции, ввоза низкоквалифицированной рабочей силы из-за рубежа. From abroad, this problem has not been solved. We need other methods. I will not talk about internal political and social and other components of the problem now, which will only affect all sectors of the economy, and the social field will have to significantly increase labor productivity. The development of digital data-driven control model platform and the promotion of end-to-end upgrading of industrial capabilities on the basis of extensive automation have been set by the number of industrial robots by 30. For example, Russia should be one of the 25 major countries in the world, but this does not seem to be a very ambitious task, but it is actually feasible to achieve this goal. We will move slowly, we can do more. I am very aware that for many colleagues in this hall of owners and executives of large companies, this task setting is not a vision for the distant future, but a concrete action plan that has been implemented in practice. And as you know, regular visits to enterprises in different regions, including new workshops, production lines, factories, and of course I can see how enthusiastic their leaders and workers are about their refurbished enterprises. Did you even know that it was implemented on a completely different modern basis? Surprisingly, young people introduce these things to our unsuitable rooms, and they develop them well themselves.